All right. Well, hello everyone. As everyone files in, we'll get started in a second. All right. All right. I think we are set. All right. Let's go ahead and get started and then that way we can leave extra time for later on. So, you want to start us off start us off good news, or do you want me to?
You got this.
All right, deal. Well, hello everyone. My name's Kyle Fender. I help with alumni items here at Georgia First, and today I'm here to talk about scholarships because um, I would like people to be able to go to college or to do what they're looking for in terms of their next step when it comes to college or trades or whatever else without having to deal with a lot of that financial burden. So I wanted to be able to present a little bit of scholarship strategy plus also what's available out there because First has amazing scholarships out there for people. So we'll talk a little bit about what's available there and so on and so forth. So let me go ahead. I'll start my presentation if I can find my first part. Um, so why do scholarships matter? Why are we here? If you guys haven't seen, if you look at the tuition costs, if you look at what a student has to pay, either per semester or per year, per quarter, when it comes to any 4 year, 4 year college out there, it's a lot, whether you're talking about in-state or out-of-state costs. And so as those costs rise, it can sometimes be, a really hard path for someone if they are looking to go into a STEM field to be able to get that education without the availability of extra funds, whether it be loans or whatever else. And so scholarships opened the door for that. Scholarships help in a big way. It helped me personally as I went off to college and finished out my degree in mechatronics engineering at the wonderful Kennesaw State University, one of the partners of Georgia First Robotics. And scholarships help to open those doors, and it supports the STEM workforce development, especially here in the state of Georgia. We have amazing colleges and universities um, that have a lot of scholarships out there for our kids to be able to get into not just the STEM fields, but also into fields that intersect with STEM, such as business, such as art, and everything else. And so, what I wanted to be able to do is to highlight why those scholarships matter and then why you, as a first student, or even if you're a coach, mentor, or a volunteer that's looking to be an advocate, why we want to be able to display these to our first students and make these available. And so from there, the overview of FIRST scholarships, we have over $5 million in opportunities that are available with FIRST. And we talk about it every year. I talk about it as when we're doing, opening ceremonies for our state championship or for any of our Peachtree District events. Um, there are millions of scholarships that go untouched. And it's because people don't know that there's an opportunity out there for them. Now, our FIRST scholarships are available to all FIRST students that participate in any of our graduates of our four FIRST programs. Obviously, our two within the FIRST Lego League, then FIRST Tech Challenge, and then obviously the FIRST Robotics Competition. And it's not limited to just programmers, people that are engineers. It can be for people that are with business, arts, whatever you can think of that encapsulates the FIRST experience is who can get these types of scholarships, a lot of different types of scholarships. And as we talk about, it's not just scholarships for your normal 4-year college or university. There's also things like the trades and everything else, which are so important as well to be able to advocate for. Now, as I talked about, we have a bunch of different types of scholarships that are available within FIRST. You have your college and university scholarships that are your 4-year or 2-year scholarships. You have your trade and technical school scholarships that are available for people that want to go into the trades, whether it be for welding or whatever else, as well as corporate partner opportunities. Because, as you guys know, the FIRST experience is not without our amazing sponsors, and a lot of those sponsors want firsters in the schools, but they also want firsters to remember their name because later on they want them in their companies. So these 3 types of scholarships are what you will normally see for FIRST scholarships. So what I want to do is kind of to highlight a couple different scholarships that are available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show a little bit of what's available out there. Now, if you guys don't know, FIRST actually just upgraded their scholarship program system to a whole new one that is available from their website, firstinspires.org/scholarships. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's available on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up screen 3. There we go. So hopefully, let me see what I look like. There we go. Awesome. So there you go. I forgot mirrored. So this is the Pearson Scholarship website. So if you actually go to, as I said, First Inspire. Oh wait, I forgot. I'm gonna have to turn around a little bit. There you go. So when you go to firstinspires.org/scholarships, scholarships there, you'll actually come to our alumni page where you'll see a lot of those opportunities. But if you scroll down, you'll actually come to where it shows the FIRST Scholarship Program. And as I talked about, it's a whole new program built out by Pearson. And so if you go there for the Future Pearson's portal, then you'll actually come to the same page here. Now, on the page, you can do a couple things. You can look up by the name if you already know the name of the scholarship, or if you know the name of the school that you want to possibly take a look at. But it also splits it into 4 different items: the amount of the scholarship, the location of the scholarship, if it's school dependent or if it's like a corporate one, the level, because obviously you have your college, but then you have post. And then finally, the application deadline. Because here's the thing. You probably want to know about what's available for you in terms of funds for college early on. So a lot of these application deadlines are going to come in a little bit earlier for people. So as we scroll down on the Pearson website page, so I'm going to come over and take a look. So we have a couple of our scholarships that you kind of look through, and more scholarships are going to be available here on the website as the year progresses. It is early. This website was actually just launched as of it is September 13th, so probably about a week. It's been out a week, so there's still a lot of scholarships that still have to go up. So you'll see more, but you'll see things like the Dr. Bart Kamen Memorial First Scholarship, which was made in memorial of Dr. Bart Kamen, Dean Kamen's brother, to be able to inspire people to go into biomedical engineering. It's given to a couple firsters every year to be able to encourage them to go into biomedical engineering, as well as from a lot of our partner universities, whether it be like you see here, University of Kansas, University of Illinois, so on and so forth. And you'll see a lot of our different scholarships. Now you'll see that there are scholarships, obviously, like I said, for things like if I can go for specific universities here, and then you'll have scholarships from people like T Connectivity, which is another one of our partners, or Elbit America, or Spark Force. Things like that will appear on here. Now, if we actually drill into a scholarship here, I'll scroll up so you can see with the Dr. Bart Kamen Memorial Scholarship. If you drill in, you'll actually see what's needed for this scholarship. So the award amount is for $10,000. It is due on January 31st, 2026. So during build season. So think about that, and we'll talk about that a little bit in terms of the strategy, and then a little bit of the actual background and what's required here for the scholarships, as well as the links to be able to go to different scholarships there as well. So this is one of the main larger FIRST scholarship, and so it's actually hosted here on the website. But if you go to any of our other university partners from FIRST, you'll actually see here, and it'll take you to the Embry-Riddle website here, and you'll have to log in and do all that stuff. So those are the types of scholarships that are available. As I said, you can go through, explore, and see what's available. If I go up here as well, like I said, you can actually see the breakdown of like application deadlines, who it's available for if you have to be a junior or senior in high school, or if it's while you're in college, the location. So we'll take a look at Georgia specifically for the moment. And voila, SCAD, the Savannah College for Art and Design, has a scholarship for $5,000. And so, as I said, you'll see more scholarships pop up on here throughout the year. So I would encourage you to take a look at these scholarships, as well as all the different amounts. Now let's go ahead. I'm gonna go back to if I can find my way back over. There we go. We'll go back to a presentation. I want to talk a little bit about strategies. So back to our screen. So from there, we talked about the first place to find it is literally at our FIRST website. So again, firstinspires.org/scholarships. You can go there, find scholarships that are available to you officially through the FIRST program. But what I would also encourage you to do as well is not just to go to that website. There are a lot of scholarships that are available either from the team and affiliate. So if your team is, let's say, associated with, let's say, GE or Novellis or a lot of these other companies as well that are amazing Georgia sponsors, they also give out scholarships as well. So I encourage you to talk with with mentors that are coming from those corporate sponsors, to talk with them about the availability of scholarships, as well as community opportunities as well, and corporate opportunities as well. So let's talk a little bit about what you need to do, right? And so I want to be able to talk a little bit about strategy, because what I think is one of the biggest things that you can do is to know, one, your options, but then two, you need a plan of action. You need to know how you are going to tackle each one of these applications, because, like I said, it's not just $1 million that goes untouched, right? In the other way of thinking about it, that's possibly thousands upon thousands of dollars that you could have in your hands to work with for for your college experience. And so the first thing I would say to you real quickly is know your deadlines. Know when things need to be available. And I'm saying this not just for scholarships, but if you're thinking about awards in general. Because the thing is, you are look um you are advertising yourself. And so you want to know when you need to do specific things. So know your know your deadlines. I always suggest to students that I work with, utilize a Google Calendar and start to list out when specific things are due, and not just specifically, okay, this is when the scholarship application is due. Go granular. There's going to be a lot of different things on an application. So not just when is the application due, but there may be things of, when are my recommendations due? When do I need to have my transcript in? When do I need to have all these different things available, and having it on a calendar so you can see visually what I need to do, and to be able to plan it out, because I'm not saying to you that you need to be spending um 8 hours a day working on scholarships. You have a life to live, or your students have a life to live. But what I do want to encourage is making sure that you spend enough time, whether it be per day or a couple days during the week, especially as you're leading up um to the end of the year to know, okay, I can spend this much time during the day to write my applications, write my essays, to correspond with my teachers and mentors to be able to get my recommendation letters, and then to be able to go ahead and to get them out in the right amount of time without stressing myself out. That's the key. Within the whole application process, your goal is to build systems so that you do not stress yourself out. Because one, it's not healthy. You know, this it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't get that one specific scholarship. So it's not worth it to you to stress yourself out. Because at the end of the day, your health is worth way more than just a couple $1,000s. Now, the other side of it is not just the actual the that part. The other side of it as well is very simple. Let's say you're doing interviews and things like that. Stress, you can read stress on a face. And when you can tell someone's stressed out, you can tell a lot. So it is a real thing. Watch you building your systems and everything else will help you to be able to deal with a lot of those different challenges and to be able to be your best self as you go and pursue these scholarships and with these applications. Now, we just talked about deadlines and systems. The second one is a little bit of marketing. The second one is be able to tell your first story in an essay format or even in an interview format. Um, so I work with a lot of alumni, as I said, and the big thing is, and we ask people, do you know what your first story is and how you can relate to people? Because we have a lot of amazing first alumni that have told their stories and it's changed people's lives to be able to go through those different stories. I'm not even counting my own story, but talking to a lot of our other alumni that have started off on a team not knowing what they were going to do as a first student, and then going through being a rookie, going through their 4 years, graduating, going to college, starting businesses, starting startups. We have a lot of first alumni with amazing stories. But the question I always ask them is, can you tell your own? And so you have to be able to tell your first story in an essay and being able to tell it in a way that's captivating to the audience, right? I can talk about my own story. I started all out being mentored before even getting on a first team, but seeing what first could do and change in people's lives. And so for 2 years, I studied under my mentor, Al George, as he coached at my alumnus school, Joseph Wheeler High School, aka Wheeler Magnet, and then from there joined Team 1002. After 3 years, of working, becoming the first Black freshman to join a varsity team, which was the FRC team at that time. I rose through the ranks, got my first Engineering Inspiration award win as a sophomore. Junior year, got my second, and then was the first winner of the first Dean's List Award internationally, top 10 ranked in the world. Being able to tell that story, and then from there, it doesn't stop with your scholarships. You have to be able to tell your first story as you go on. Because for me, I tell my first story if I'm going to, not just for jobs, but I also tell it when I'm trying to convince people to join first as well. First not just inspired me to go ahead and to be an engineer. It inspired me to go back and give back to different communities. I talked about one of the other seminars I did today. My first experience and what people like Connie Haynes, as well as my mentors, Al George and David Platt did, as well as people like Eric Kaufman, inspired me to go back, use my expertise that I've had with FIRST, and to be able to help not just build curriculum for schools in South Africa. Now my own in-laws, within myself, my wife, and my in-laws, we bought a school in South Africa. And so not only am I working in South Africa, I'm building up an entire IT infrastructure, building up curriculum, and eventually starting up a robotics team in South Africa because of the impact FIRST has made in my life. That is me being able to take my first story and being able to capitalize. Because not only have I told that story and people have been like, hey, I want to come with you to South Africa, but now I have people that are wanting to donate kits and everything else. But it's because I know my first story down to a T. But people will never think about it. They're just like, oh, I did robotics for 4 years and it was cool. It was all right. I built some stuff. We won a couple blue banners. No, you have a way more amazing first story, and you have to learn how do I communicate it in the right way. Now, that's marketing, right? You need to be able to know your first story down to a T. It's like doing an elevator pitch. If I told you you had 60 seconds to tell me your first story and how your first story has impacted you to make you a better person, a better human being, how would you take that on? Now, that's about your first story. Another tip is we talked about systems. You need to work on who are your people that you're going to be your best advocates, right? You need to work on basically that framework of who can be the person that's going to write your recommendation, right? And getting those recommendation letters early. When I was going through the process of working with my own scholarships, with everything else, I made a list of basically my own mentors, my own coaches, people in my life that were helping to basically give me guidance on scholarships that I could basically take on. And then I wrote those down to be able to say, okay, who best knows me? Who best could tell the story of what I'm doing as a firster? Wrote those down and then reached out to them early on to be able to say, hey, can you write me a recommendation? It needs to be this long, needs to be at by here by this day, and so on and so forth. And so from there, to be able to build that network so that you can have your best shot there when it comes to recommendation letters. The other recommendation I have as well is you can do it one of two ways. Your recommendation letters, you can have your people make them as generic as possible and then plug and play for the university that you decide to use those with, or when you're using them with the Common App, or make them specific as possible, right? If you're talking about a recommendation letter to the amazing institution of Georgia Tech, I may want to have uh I had one of my friends who was a Georgia Tech grad and graduated summa cum laude and everything else, and also knew me from being a kid to be able to give that recommendation. Things like that, right? Get those recommendation letters in early and know who your best advocates are. A couple other points, they're not on here as well. One, um, we talked about telling your first story in essays, but what I encourage you to do is know how to write your first story in your own words. We live in a time, obviously, I'm not gonna lie to you, ChatGPT is one of my best friends when it comes to figuring out how to word stuff and things like that. But we definitely have come into a time and age where a lot more people are writing their essays, getting them out there than it's just fully AI generated. And as your admissions officers and otherwise kind of get wise to how these essays are being written, it's imperative to for you guys as students, parents that are here, mentors, whatever else, to encourage original writing so we can make sure that you're displaying basically your true self. Now, it's not a bad thing to utilize AI to be able to help to figure out maybe the best way to phrase something, maybe, to figure out maybe areas where I can expound. But at the end of the day, you have to learn, how do I tell this story myself versus how do I allow ChatGPT or Copilot to tell the story for me? So watch out for that, especially because there are AI detection tools out there, and it would not be a fun day if you find out you didn't get into the college you wanted to because you decided, I'm just gonna kind of phone it in and write a AI essay. So I would encourage you with that. Other items I would encourage you with as well when it comes to the applications is, I said build systems. One of the things I've encouraged students to do is, one, obviously with the calendar, but two, utilize something like a Excel spreadsheet to be able to keep track of basically application progress and things like that, so that you can make sure that you know where to go to for information for a application, where your specific status is, where if you've won or if you need to provide other information. Those things are important. So I always will tell people, build a system so that you can keep track of these things yourself. And as well as in general, I would tell you guys, the more you prep yourself beforehand, the less stress you're gonna be dealing with later on. So build these systems now, especially right now. We're in September. This is the perfect time. Take a weekend. I was about to say right now, if you're a football fan, there's not like if you love Georgia Tech, they're winning 13-0. So, at this point, there's, you know, what else do you have to do for today, basically? So take some time, build your systems, start doing some research, and really get into this process, because I believe that it is so worth it to be able to say, with these few hours of investment, either every day or every other day, that you could see financial benefits come through that would be able to help you longevity wise, not just with your college career, but for the rest of your life. Because I will tell you, um, college loans are not fun to take out. Um, I'm not I love people like Dave Ramsey, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like the thought of taking out student loans, and I had to personally after uh taking maybe like an extra year of college. But if I could tell uh if I could tell 20 2009, 2010 Kyle what I would recommend, I would tell that Kyle, even though I got a scholarship, which was great. What I would tell that Kyle is, be more intentional about about your scholarship process, because it is so important to you later on in your life. So I encourage you now, if you're a student, if you're in 10th or 11th grade, I'm not telling you to stress yourself out. What I'm telling you is, start your research. Know what you need to do there. Now, the last part of this is a call to action, right? First, visit the scholarship portal. Like I said, firstinspires.org/scholarships. Go there. Take a look at the scholarships. Second, apply, apply, apply. That's Robert May will always say that, and I always laugh at it, but it is real, because you need sometimes a reminder. Apply, 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 especially even if you're unsure. Because here's the thing, why not? Go for broke. All gas, no brakes. Just go for it. What's the what's the worst that could happen? You don't get the scholarships. What's the best thing that can happen? You get the scholarship. So apply. And finally, share with your teammates and mentors, because here's the thing, right? A rising tide lifts all ships. Here's the thing. One of the greatest things that I got to experience is not just me getting scholarships, but my friends getting scholarships as well, and being able to enjoy in that, right? I encourage you to share this with your teammates, with other mentors, other coaches, to be able to let them know and encourage them to get their people into not just looking at the scholarships, but getting them into the scholarship application process. Because I believe that doing these types of things is life changing for a lot of different people. And here's how I'll display this to you. When we're talking about scholarships, when it comes to FIRST, there are a lot of different people that FIRST has changed their lives and propelled them. And I think of the stories of people that didn't have that opportunity. And then I think about some of the stories we've heard in FIRST, where people have gone scholarships to go to their dream university. They go for 4 years. They go and start working on this incredible startup where they are working on systems to be able to detect smoke and other items. And then from there, their company is bought out by Google, aka Nest, and their product becomes the Nest Protect. That's one example. That's actually from a 1002 alumni that actually worked on the original Nest Protect items. But you have other people that have gone for scholarships, and they've created software and mechanisms to be able to detect uh, concussions in football players. They develop technologies for agricultural farming to be able to deal with autonomous tractors, right? Even myself, the scholarships that I was able to get helped in a big way, and especially now in what I'm doing, I'm actually working for AGCO Corporation, working on technology to be able to do remote diagnostics on tractors and to be able to help farmers and dealers to be able to keep their machines up and going, especially in an area where we want to be able to help, farmers and dealers have access to that data and being able to repair tractors themselves. So a lot of that stuff came from the opportunities that First Scholarship provided. Now, the last thing I will tell you, and I don't know if it'll be controversial, but I know it's not something that everyone will always say. And it's this specifically. College doesn't make you a success. And so I will say that because we have a lot of firsters that are here in Georgia First that didn't go to college, but they went and did trades. They went to technical school. They worked in apprenticeships, and that is also available through the First Scholarship program as well. And those opportunities will be there as well, right? We've had scholarships from people like Mike Rowe, who did the TV show Dirty Jobs for years, and he actually had a scholarship for people that wanted to go into specifically the trades. Because the reality is, going to college, going to university, doing that isn't going to make you successful. It is your internal character. It's the way that you hold yourself. It's the way that you pursue the things that you are passionate about that will make you successful in life. It is not about your degree. As much as, and I'm going to grab my degree, so give me a second. As much as I love my degree from Kennesaw State University, and as much as I was proud as a first generation kid, having parents that moved here the from London as a kid, to have them see me get the American dream by going to college. This isn't what made me successful. It was what my parents instilled in me to actually pursue my passion. I wanted to be an engineer since I was 7, seeing Dean Kamen be um, be an inventor, to do his different things. But I knew whether I went to college, whether I went to university, whether I went to the trades, that my passion would lead me through. And I encourage for students that are here today, as well as to the mentors and coaches that are here. I want you, if there's anything that I would tell you to tell your students, other than obviously apply, 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 I would also tell you to tell your students to bring that passion and energy into this process, because I will tell you there are things in the scholarship search process or your college search process where you're going to find colleges that match you better than others, right? I went to Kennesaw State University for mechatronics engineering. And I went there because I could have gone to Auburn, I could have gone to Purdue, I could have gone to WPI, any of those universities. But my coach at the time, Al George, told me that if I went to the mechatronics program at Southern Poly, that I would be able to get hands-on experience there, and that would yield me better fruit, especially being hands-on. And that's where I put my focuses on towards the later parts of my high school career. And so I say that to say, be for for coaches and mentors, be the best advocates that you can be for your students to pursue the right path. Because college and university may not be the right path for them. Maybe it's trades, or maybe college and university is the right path. But being your kids' best advocates is going to be the best thing that you can do. And so, with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here. Like I said, I was trying to be as quick as I can be with this presentation because I believe it's straightforward when it comes to scholarships. Money it never hurts to have, especially when going to college. And I want, especially for our Georgia First students, I want them to have that money so that they can pursue their dreams, whether they're going to college, university, or doing trades, career and technician jobs. Whatever they do, I want Georgia First students to be the most successful that they can be. So, with that being said, I want to open the floor to any questions. And what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, if you haven't already, we have a Q&A section down at the bottom of the screen. If you have questions about anything with the scholarships or whatever else, you can drop them there. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And if I can't answer them, what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, you can email me at my email address with Georgia First, K Fender, Fender, at GeorgiaFIRST.org. If you are wondering about anything, whether it be for the scholarships or in general, a lot with what I do is focused towards the alumni of not just coming from Georgia, but coming into Georgia as well. So if you're interested of any opportunities specifically uh, for you as you go into your next chapter of your first experience, please let me know and I will be glad to answer those questions. And so, um, any questions from you guys? Yes, thank you. Because I would have probably forgotten. So thank you for that. But yeah, any questions? And otherwise, I think I will say I think we're good for today. Let me see real quick. I don't see any questions in the Q&A, so this works for me. Um, what I will also say as well is I would encourage everyone here to be able to go and see any of our other seminars that we are going to have today. We have a couple more rounds of sessions that are going to be occurring here at the Georgia First Symposium. We have a lot of amazing presenters, a lot of great information that's available out there to you. I encourage you to go and check those items out. So if there are no more questions, like I said, email me if you would guys would like to if you would like any more information or any other advice. And I will say thank you. Have a great day, and we will see you guys in our other sessions here at the Georgia First Symposium. Thank you guys so much.